Hey guys, Tim here, back with a much overdue update on the layout. Any rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated, but as you're watching that corporate inspection train run up the Harvard sub, it is time to give a much overdue update on where the layout is and why I haven't been able to post an update in a long time, but why that's all about to change and we're going to be moving forward in some really exciting ways. So, initially, I had planned to give a normal update. You can see here I was working on getting the ground cover and everything done for the lift out section. And then, just as I'm sure many of you can relate, life kind of gets in the way. A lot of stuff came up with work. But the bigger thing that I want to talk about as you're watching this fast forward of me putting the ground cover and everything on is I really didn't want to keep pushing it with scenery because I really couldn't run a lot of trains with where the layout was because we were in a holding position. I couldn't build any more bench work because we needed the wall, and I didn't want to do much more with the scenery because I really want to take my time with it and get it done right. When we get into the scene with the first metro station, I really want to do custom scratch building of the buildings to make it look as close to the actual downtown there as possible. And again, I just want to get to the point where I can actually run trains over the length of the layout. And so the footage you're looking at actually was done back in December when I was trying to move full steam ahead. And I realized, I've got all the time in the world. I don't want to rush it. Although I wanted to finish getting the lift out scenic just to have it done and ready to go. But then again, I kind of fell into a holding pattern because life got busy and I didn't really want to progress until I could get back into a position where I could do some bench work. I did notice a problem. I'm going to figure out a way to file down underneath. You can see here, this end of the lift out is slightly raised compared to the other track. And there's no warping. It's still resting flush underneath. So I'm going to have to do something to get that, sand it down, something to get it back to being level. Before I get to the big update and the update for why I'm posting a video, I do want to show you I did manage to get a good amount of stuff way back during Christmas. I was able to get several auto racks from Scale Trains, which is really exciting because, again, in my world, the plant is still operational in Janesville, so I want to have plenty of auto racks to represent the through freight that's going up the Harvard sub. In addition to the auto racks, I was also able to get, and you saw it in that opening clip there, Centralia has a Superdome for Chicago Northwestern, which the CNW didn't actually have, but hey, it's a fictional version of the railroad that survived, so it'll fit, and we'll put it to good use. And then in addition, I got some other freight cars to round out my current collection. So Rapido came out with some modern center beam cars, and so I picked up a couple of those because in addition to Heller Lumber, when I get to building the second floor, there's two other customers that take lumber loads, and so I'll need that. I picked up Atlas's recent modern hopper, and then in addition to that, I wanted to get some additional double stack units for all the intermodals. So I got another Kato set for Christmas for the 40-foot containers, which will be good. In addition, I picked up some building kits I wanted. The Jim's Repair Shop from Walters is pretty similar to an actual building that's near Heller Lumber, and it's close enough where I didn't feel the need to scratch build, so I'm going to use that. And then in addition to that, I was gifted a couple of the modern concrete warehouse kits, and I'm going to use that for one of the industries that's on the line. It's going to take I'm going to kit bash two kits and use a couple other things to get it to the prototypical size and shape. But in addition, the biggest thing, this part I didn't get for Christmas, but it recently came from Lombard Hobbies. It was time to upgrade the power system that I've been using because I've been using just a real basic DCC system that I picked up years ago, and I was noticing even running it on the limited track that I have, if I put a number of sound-equipped locomotives on, it was really testing the amperage that I had, and so I figured it was time. It was time to actually upgrade to a pretty decent unit that I could expand out with boosters and such later on. And so I went with the Digitrax, sorry, had a total brain fart there. The Digitrax kind of starter that has the command station, the remote, everything. And I figured that would be a good starting point because then my plan is to have a separated off district that I'll use a booster for part of the layout, but this should give me plenty of energy necessary to power everything I want to run. And so I was excited to get that and plug that in, and everything worked like a charm. But the main reason why I'm posting this video is because this past weekend, my friend Tyler was able to come over, and finally we were able to get started working on the wall. So we've got the drop ceiling. We took the trim off. We kind of estimated where everything was going to go with painter's tape just to make sure we had everything planned out properly. The nice thing you can see there, plenty of studs behind the drywall that we pulled to make it really easy to build the wall. And as you're going to see, we built it up all the way to the ceiling above where the drop ceiling is. We had to be a little bit different than normal framing for walls just because the ceiling and other elements already existed, so we had to take a roundabout approach to it. When I say we, by the way, it was 99% my friend that did it. I brought him in for a reason. He's been doing these kinds of jobs for years. He built his own house, and he was able to get around the obstacles of the fact that there were just existing things that we couldn't move, and slowly put everything into place. And again, this was the real barrier because as you can see where the benchwork stops and just how close it ran to where the wall is going in. We're not going to put a door in. That entranceway is going to remain just an open entranceway. And unlike the lift out that I have so far, I'll actually put a swing gate through this section, which I think will solve some of the stability issues that I ran into with the lift out that I built over on the back end. But and the beauty of it was we were all able to get this done pretty much in just a single day. And we're not completely done yet, but certainly close enough that I'm starting to get the materials lined up, because now that we have the wall and once we get it painted and everything, I'm going to really switch heavily away from scenery and just get back into benchwork and track laying mode, because I want to get to the point where the entire first level of track is laid. So that way, again, I can start running trains through the length of at least the first level, because there will be some staging set aside before the spot where the helix will eventually go, so I could run point to point and have some fun with that. And you can get a sense of what the space is going to look like with the wall in. And the nice thing is, after the curve past the swing gate, this is essentially going to be roughly 10 feet of just uninterrupted straight rail. It's going to be great for rail fanning and getting some really dynamic shots of long trains. So I'm really excited with that. And then as you can see, we put in the corner pieces, taped it up to get ready. And then we finished up with getting all of the compound put in and everything. And that's where we left off, because obviously there's a little bit of dry time involved. And also just, I didn't want to completely dominate my friend's weekend, who was willing to come and do this out of the kindness of his heart. But that's where we are. And so again, it's not completely done yet. Things have to get, we got to sand down obviously, and then paint. But that won't take long, and obviously put the ceiling tiles back on. But that won't take very long. That'll come up very soon. And again, that means I'm finally able to work on resuming benchwork construction, doing all of that. I'll probably work on the odd scenery bits here and there just to kind of change it up. But again, I really want to focus on getting back to kind of the standard layout construction of lay the benchwork, get the track down, then go back and work on scenery, because now I have the time to do it. Again, up to the point where the first level is laid, and then probably take another pause before we work on the helix construction. But again, you can see here, we'll have a curve, and then it's just going to be a straight section coming straight through, and then that'll allow for me to run pretty long trains and for you to see the length of those trains running through the scenery. And so this is a little bit shorter than my usual updates, but as you see panning through, and again, this will be where the swing gate's going to go, just through this open area, which we made 4 feet, slightly wider than a standard door frame, but that's on purpose in case we need to move stuff through. But just having this entire stretch before it enters into another curve is going to be awesome. And I'm already feeling my mojo back on working on the layout now that we're actually getting the wall wrapped up. So it'll be ready for another update fairly soon. Thanks for all the folks who've been patient, wondering what's going on with the layout. It's exciting to get back into this phase. I can't wait to start working on benchwork next, which will be the next update. Is you'll be able to see some benchwork progress, and that'll be the next episode. So tune in next time, and thanks everyone.